everybody. Welcome back to Midweek. We took a little break. I know you noticed because a number of you texted me, called me, emailed me, and said, hey, are you alive? And the rumors of my demise and death were greatly exaggerated. We are here. And by the way, this is week 42. Can you imagine 42 weeks of midweek? So we've titled today, Let's Set the Record Straight. That's what we're going to do, is kind of set the record straight. You know how, in the absence of information, sometimes people presume the worst. So we're just going to have some fun today. And yes, there will be some helpful, I think, information for you. Number one, no, we're not going to stop midweek. We're going to continue doing it. Why? Because a lot of you watch, and the feedback is really helpful. We try and do informational things. We try and do encouraging things. And your feedback to us has been great. So this is week 42. Next week, we're at 43, and we're going to march right on. Number two, Pastor, was there a massive outbreak of COVID in our church? No, I think if you would say probably 4 people on our staff, that wouldn't be massive. Some, candidly, barely even got sniffles. Others had fever for a day, felt achy, and then there's me. And I just wanted to take a hit for the entire team, so I kind of took all of theirs. Reed, I couldn't do that. But the fact is, I probably got the worst case of it, but not a massive outbreak. There were very few. For most of the staff, they went through it and not a problem. Some have asked, Reed, dozens and dozens. Pastor, what was it like with COVID? Well, I want you to know there is smart COVID and there is stupid COVID. I got stupid COVID. What's the difference? Well, smart COVID is you barely get sick. You have sniffles. Maybe you have fever for a day. You have achy bones for a day, and you're off and running. And maybe smart COVID, you lose your taste sensation, so you don't want to eat. I got stupid COVID. I was flat out on my back for about 12 days. I had fairly significant breathing issues. I did not lose my taste buds, so I was hungry all the time. It was horrible. And I was so fatigued that going from the bedroom to the living room, I was breathing like I ran a marathon. So what I learned is there is smart COVID and there is stupid COVID. If you get it, I hope you get smart COVID. I got stupid COVID. It was not fun, to be quite honest with you. It's really interesting to experience it firsthand, along with some other friends who got it, that their outcomes were way different than mine. To be quite candid with you, it was kind of humbling. I kind of felt like, man, I must be some wuss. I mean, this thing just knocked me silly. I lost virtual all energy. Breathing was a huge issue. I grew in a deep, deep appreciation for people with anxiety issues. I probably haven't had 2 anxious moments in my life, if I were to be honest with you. But in this situation, with my breathing issues, falling asleep was terrorizing, actually, because I couldn't get air into my lungs. And it was, I have a deep appreciation for folks that struggle with breathing, like COPD, people that just have other anxiety issues. It really taught me a lot. It was humbling, and I am really thrilled to be back. And yes, for all of those who want to be my mother, I really appreciate you. I am resting, I'm getting tons of sleep, and I am shortening my time at the office. So just so you know, I'm taking care of myself. What did I learn through this season? I think, if you have smart COVID or you have stupid COVID, what you don't want to be is stupid. You want to learn something. And I did. I discovered that God asked me to be more open-handed with Him. I tend to like to plan things. I am a goal setter. And, we had all of those things in mind, like the Christmas Eve service and all of the planning. And I realized that, as the scripture says, you can plan all day, but the Lord determines your steps. And one of the things I could not muscle myself or the rest of the staff to health so that we could pull off the Christmas Eve service. That was really discouraging for me that we had to cancel that. It felt not so much like a failure. I was just frustrated. And I had to be open-handed with God in the Christmas Eve service. I realized I couldn't improve my health. I went day after day after day, and I wasn't getting a whole lot of medical support. I won't throw anyone under the bus on that, certainly nobody in our church, but until later, somebody in our church really stepped in and helped me. And it was hard to just live every day with virtually no improvement, wondering if the next step I would take would be in the hospital, and had a little blood clot concern. And I mean, there was just all kinds of things. And I couldn't do anything about it other than just say, God, my life is in your hands. And he just said, you have to live open-handed with me. I've been reminded that no matter whatever happens on a larger scale, politically or anything else, I don't have a lot of control over that. What I do have control over is my attitude. What I have control over is what I think. And what I have control over is how I respond. And God, through this whole season, in a lot of different ways, I think challenged me. Will you trust me and live open-handed and just receive what God has for us? And not so much determine my behavior to leverage God, but to respond to God with faith and hope and trust. So that to me is just a huge gift that I received from stupid COVID. It's great to be back, honestly, but yes, I am going to pace myself. When I looked at where I was at even a week ago, there's no way I could probably even get through a sermon. So in looking ahead, we did some adjustments. So we are on this weekend for live services, and we're back. Why? Because we think it's essential, and we think worship, we think the gathered body of believers. I think you heard about a study that came out by the Barna Group, that the only single entity group of people that has not increased in anxiety and depression are those who are regularly attending church. I think that is kind of what I would call a no-brainer. And so we are going to be open. However, like in the past, but to be honest with you, with a heightened sense of awareness, we're going to be continuing to create, to the best of our ability, a safe environment. We realize that we can increase in size, but we also realize that we're still committed to creating an environment that is the gathered body of believers and is a safe kind of condition as we can. So when you come on Sunday morning, Saturday night's going to be exactly the same. It's going to be in the sanctuary. Sunday morning, we're going to have 2 times, 9, 10:45. Yes, note the 10:45. Why that? Let me tell you real quickly. It is really hard to get volunteers that can come like at 8:30 in the morning and make it all the way to like 12:30 or 1 o'clock. So we're trying to, I know we didn't shorten it much, but every little bit helps. So instead of being at 9 and 11, we're 9 and 10:45 in our launch times for services. Those services are going to be in 2 locations. We're going to be in the sanctuary and we're going to be in the commons. Where do you go? Well, if you've been in the commons, oh, please, please hang there, stay there. That's your home for a little while longer. And if you're in the gym, you can kind of split. You might even want to come and just say, hey, tell me where I'm most needed. That would be absolutely fantastic. So we're going to be in the sanctuary. And by the way, the balcony is open. So we're still going to space at that 6-foot spacing. Yes, you can sit with your family. Yes, you can sit with cohorts that you've been maybe living with or working with, but we want to allow that space. So we will be sanitizing before every service, and we will always stream our services every weekend for those who need to protect their health and remain at home. Back to our favorite subject. I know it's your favorite subject, masks. What are we going to do with those? I'm wearing them. I know I've had COVID. Doesn't matter. I'm going to wear them. We're going to model that, and we request that you honor that. And if for medical reasons you can't, we respect that. We support that. Absolutely. So we have the same policy on masks. And absolutely, let's together protect our body and do the best that we can as we move forward. Everything's going to be up and running this week. Thrive and Fusion and MidWeek, yes, small groups. We have over 300 some people that are starting together in small groups. They're going to be in homes. We're going to be doing a study on the mission of the church to the city. It is going to be spectacular. If you are not in a small group, would you call the office? We'll help you get there. And, we can do Zoom. We can do other avenues for you. So this is a study with Tim Keller. I'm a fan, and it's going to be great study in the Word of God. That's our small group study. And so one last thing in terms of what's ahead. Capital Christian is going to be going full-time. They were at 2 hours a day, and now they're going to be going full-time, and that starts next week, January 11th. So continue to pray for them, and we will look forward to just what God's going to do. Let me just finish with one thing. It's a great psalm, one of my favorites, Psalm 75. And it's a psalm that just kind of lets you relax and give you peace. Let me read just a couple of verses from this text. Verse 2, God says, "At the time I have planned, I will bring justice against the wicked." I actually never worry about people who are getting away with something. I don't, because they never get away with it. God knows exactly what's going on. Verse 3 says, "When the earth quakes and its people live in turmoil, I am the one who keeps its foundations firm." I know probably some of you are a little disappointed today in maybe the outcome of Georgia. And some of you are panicked and believe there's all kinds of views on the presidential race. And I'm not here to say one side or the other. I'll tell you what I am here to say is that when the earth quakes and when people are filled with fear, there's one entity, our God, who is not shaken. And I trust that. I hold on to that with all my might. Verse 7 says, "It is God alone who judges. He decides who will rise and who will fall." If you believe that, relax. God decides who rises and falls. That doesn't make your vote insignificant. It makes your hope secure. Verse 9 says, "But as for me, I will always proclaim what God has done. I will sing praises to the God of Jacob." For God says, "I will break the strength of the wicked, but I will increase the power of the godly." You know what that means? It means that this year, you're going to be strengthened, you're going to be stronger, you're going to have more faith, you're going to have a better attitude, all of those things. Why? Because God says, "I will strengthen the power of the godly." This is going to be a great year. Oh, it'll be challenging. We'll have all kinds of challenges, but it might be in your life the best spiritual growth you've ever experienced. That's what I'm praying for me. Thanks so much for joining us again on MidWeek. It's great to be back with you. I won't be preaching this weekend. We're going to have two sluggers that are going to preach. Pastor Jeff, Pastor Tyler, they're going to be preaching. Why? Well, because I got so used to vacation, I just want more of it. No, I'm kidding. I actually just need to pace my energy. I'm planning on being back the next weekend. I don't want to kind of recidivize back into this thing called stupid COVID. So these guys are going to preach this weekend. I cannot wait. They're going to be in 1 John chapter 1, verses 1 through 4. Read it, prepare for it, and we will see you either here or online. God bless you.